The Thief of Always, Chapter 20, The Thieves Meet. Glimpsing the dusty truth masquerading as pie and ice cream was one thing, but scratching the veneer of deceits that the house had polished to such perfection was quite another. As Harvey climbed the stairs, he kept hoping he'd find some little detail in the walls or the carpets that would allow him to get his mind's fingers beneath the lid of this illusion and lift it up to see what charmless thing lay inside. If Mar had been made of stale mud and spittle and jive of dust, what was the house itself made of? But it knew its business too well. However hard Harvey stared, he could not pierce its lies. It delighted his senses with warmth and color and the sense of summer. It cooed softly in his ear and played its gentle airs against his face. Even when he reached the dark landing at the top of the final flight, the house continued to pretend that this was just another innocent game of hide and seek, like the countless games it had seen played in its shadow. There were 5 doors ahead of him, every one of them ajar a few inches, as if to say, "There are no secrets here, not from a boy who wants the truth. Come look, come see, if you dare." He dared, but not in the way the house had planned. After spending a few moments examining the doors, he ignored all of them and instead went back down a flight. Choosing a strong chair from one of the bedrooms, brought it back upstairs, climbed onto it, and pushed open the trap door that led onto the attic. It was hard work hauling himself up, but he knew when he'd finished and lay panting on the attic floor that his pursuit of Hood was almost at an end. The Vampire King was near. Who else but a master of illusions would live in a place so bereft of them? The attic was all the house was not. Filthy, murky, and cobwebbed. "Where are you?" he said. It was no use thinking he could surprise the enemy. Hood had watched his ascent from the first stair. "Come out," he yelled. "I want to see what a thief looks like." There was no reply at first, but then, from somewhere at the other end of the attic, Harvey heard a low, guttural growl. Not waiting for his eyes to become fully accustomed to the gloom, he started toward the utterance. The boards creaked beneath his feet as he went. Twice he stopped to look up because a noise somewhere in the darkness overhead caught his attention. Was it a trapped bird, panicking as it flew blindly back and forth? Or roaches, perhaps, massed on the beams above him? He told himself to put such imaginings out of his head and concentrate on finding Hood. There were enough real reasons to be fearful here without inventing more. Unlike the area around the trap door, this end of the attic served as some kind of storeroom, and his enemy was surely lurking in the maze of rotting pictures and mildewed furniture. In fact, wasn't that a fluttering motion he saw now out of the corner of his eye? "Hood," he said, squinting to try and make better sense of the shape in the shadows. "What are you doing hiding up here?" He took another step forward, and as he did so, he realized his error. This wasn't the mysterious Mr. Hood. He knew this shape, mangled though it was, the half-rotted wings, the tiny black eyes, the teeth, the endless teeth. It was Karna. The creature half rose from its squalid nest, snapping at Harvey as it did so. He made a stumbling retreat and might have been seized after 3 steps had Karna not been so hobbled by its wounds and slowed by the chaos of its surroundings. It struck out at the piles of detritus to the left and right of it, scattering chairs and overturning boxes, then hauled itself in pained pursuit of its prey. Harvey kept his eyes fixed upon the beast as he backed away, his mind buzzing with questions. Where was Hood? That was the main mystery. Mrs. Griffin had been certain he was up here somewhere, but Harvey had now wandered the attic from end to end, and its only occupant was the creature driving him back toward the exit. He chanced several glances into the shadows as he retreated in case he'd missed some figure hiding there. It was not a human form his eyes alighted upon, however. It was a globe the size of a tennis ball, glowing as though filled with starlight. It appeared like a bubble from the boards and rose toward the roof. Momentarily forgetting his jeopardy, Harvey watched it as it ascended, joined by another, then a third, and a fourth. Astonished by the sight, he took too little care where he was walking. He stumbled, fell, and ended up sprawled on the hard boards, staring up at the roof through a red haze of pain. And there above him was Hood in all his glory. His face was spread over the entire roof, his features horribly distorted. His eyes were dark pits gouged into the timbers. His nose was flared and flattened grotesquely, like the nose of an enormous bat. His mouth was a lipless slit that was surely 10 feet wide, from which issued a voice that was like the creaking of doors and the howling of chimneys and the rattling of windows. "Child," he said, "you have brought pain into my paradise. Shame on you." "What pain?" Harvey shouted back. He was shuddering to his marrow, but he knew this was no time to show his fear. He would deal an illusion the way the enemy did, pretending courage even if he didn't feel it. "I came to get what was mine, that's all," he said. Hood sucked one of the gleaming spheres into his mouth. Its light went out instantly. "Mar is dead," he said. "Jive is dead, gone to muck and dust because of you." "They were never alive," Harvey said. "Did you not hear their sobs and pleas?" Hood demanded, the knots in his brow tightening. "Did you not pity them?" "No," Harvey said. "Then I will not pity you," came the rasping reply.
Good morning.